Welcome to the University of South Carolina College of Pharmacy podcast. I'm your host, Margaret Gregory, and we're pleased to have as our guest Megan Tran, a 2009 graduate of the college and an assistant professor in the Clinical Pharmacy and Outcome Sciences Department. Welcome, Megan. Thank you for joining us.
No, I appreciate the opportunity, Margaret. I'm glad to be here.
So let's talk first about how you came down this career path. How did you get interested in pharmacy as a potential career?
I always tell the students when they are interviewing that they have much better stories than I ever did. I felt like when I was in high school, I was of course drawn to the mathematics and sciences, but really had no idea what I wanted to do when I got to the college environment. Truthfully, one of the reasons I picked USC is because it also had a school of music, and if I wasn't going to be a pharmacist, I would have been a band director. But my aunt and I had a conversation in my junior year. She threw out lots of professions, and pharmacy piqued my interest. So I dug in, I did a lot more research, and I decided USC would be a fantastic place to begin to pursue that. So I kind of fell into it by accident. I didn't have a job in pharmacy before I got enrolled in pharmacy school, but I'm incredibly happy that this is where I ended up.
Tell me a little bit more about your musical background.
I wish I could say that I had kept up with it better, but in high school I played the clarinet, was incredibly involved in the sit-down bands and marching band, and I actually did it my first couple of years here on the USC campus as well. But once I joined pharmacy school, I was involved with the School of Music, but definitely have not kept that up after graduation. I enjoy music, but I am not a player anymore.
And I can certainly relate to that as a former clarinetist myself who played in high school band. Just recently had my clarinet redone just so I could set it on top of the piano and look at it. You did mention what made you choose USC for your pharmacy education, but what about the program intrigued you?
I really appreciated the focus that the faculty had on their students. They really wanted to make sure that it was a best-in-class type of environment. They were interactive in the classroom. They wanted to have that face-to-face time with the students, and that's something that I've wanted to continue ever since I've stepped back into teaching as well. But I had fantastic faculty, some of them who are still here today and helping to guide me along as a new faculty member. But it wasn't any one particular thing. It was the environment as a whole. It was all of the little moving pictures from the types of organizations that were offered, the support for postgraduate training, if that's what you wanted to pursue, or just finding your first job. I felt like the faculty here were there to help guide you and help lead you as you were stepping into a brand new profession. And as a student, that's really what I needed and what I wanted to have.
So let's talk a little bit about your career path after you graduated and then what led you into academia.
Certainly. Well, as a pharmacy student, I had no insight that this is where I would end up. I actually had more of an interest in psychiatric pharmacy, so taking care of patients with mental health disorders when I graduated, and anticipated that I would do postgraduate training. I attempted to do residency match, which a very significant number of students are successful in, particularly now we're having wonderful match rates. But for me, I didn't match, and it was a little bit of a ding in my plans. I never had anticipated what I would do if I wasn't going to do postgraduate training. So I ended up looking at local South Carolina hospitals that needed entry-level pharmacists and took a position in Greenwood, South Carolina at Self Regional Healthcare. So it's a nonprofit community hospital. Actually had not heard of it before I graduated, so took a little bit of a chance and moved an hour and a half away where I had been going to school. But the hospital was fantastic, and while I was working there, I had the opportunity to cross-train in the cancer center. Again, I had no interest in oncology. I really was happy to do whatever they needed me to as a first-year pharmacist who was out after graduation and practicing. But loved the patients, loved the environment, had a fantastic pharmacist partner that I worked with, and a group of providers that helped to teach me. So as time went on, I moved from just cross-training and being down there once or twice a month to weekly to being offered a position to do that as my full-time profession. So I can't say that I embraced it wholeheartedly from the beginning. I was a little bit resistant. But once I decided that oncology really was my calling, I jumped in with 2 feet. I'm self-trained, which is a little bit different from many of the faculty members here that have done 1, 2, or more years of postgraduate training. But I attended conferences, I read tons of material, I talked to patients, and as soon as I felt ready, I started taking students. So this was doing mentoring and taking them on their advanced practice experience rotations, as well as stepping into the classroom for the first time at another college of pharmacy. I did it just as an instructor, a guest instructor, and then as an adjunct instructor. But I was able to teach in the classroom setting to be able to influence students in their third year instead of waiting on rotations for their fourth. It found that I really enjoyed that too. From talking to them, even to making test questions and evaluating them at the end. After getting a taste of it, I was joking with my manager and told her that as much as I loved my current position, one of the reasons I might leave is if a job came open at my alma mater. And lo and behold, 1 year it did. So I looked at it online for quite some time before I decided I would apply and take a chance, and truly never anticipated that I would be qualified enough to join the faculty that taught me and that I respected so much. But I was given that opportunity. So of course, when I landed here at USC, I did the same thing I did when I graduated. I jumped into the new experience with as much emphasis as I could, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can. I'm still learning every single day.
Now that you're a member of the faculty, you're also still continuing a clinical practice as well. How do you balance those two things?
I do practice. So the current position that I have, I'm about 50%, USC College of Pharmacy faculty member. And then the other 50% of my week is contracted out to Prisma Health Richland, where I'm a pharmacist at their Cancer Institute. I am not fantastic at balance. I think I want to give 100% in every location, and of course that's not possible. But I try to see where the need is the largest at that time. So some weeks I may spend more time at the Cancer Institute, and some weeks I may stay at the College of Pharmacy the entire time. My general thought is to be at the clinic when we're busiest in the mornings and try to transition to the College of Pharmacy in the afternoon, but it depends week to week for course workload and meetings and everything else that we have going on. But I really enjoy that environment. I think it's a fantastic clinic experience to cultivate, and our students really love being there to take care of our patients. They learn a lot of information, and it's a really unique population that gives them insight into what it means to be sick or to get well again.
I think also what you're doing is demonstrating the wide breadth of opportunities in a career that are available with a pharmacy degree.
That's very true. Pharmacists, I know, are still portrayed many times as being behind the counter, but especially working in a hospital or a clinic environment, we have the opportunity to work with large interprofessional groups, whether that's the physicians and the nurse practitioners to social workers and financial coordinators and our nursing team as well. I really enjoy moving outside of behind my computer and getting to have that time with the patients or being able to help them solve problems. Whether it's something small or something large, I like to be a problem solver, and my role currently lets me do that, which is fantastic.
Now, you participated in the CTE reflective teaching practices. What did you take away from that experience?
Certainly. This was an online course that a small cohort of pharmacist faculty member and providers at the School of Medicine got to participate in. It's hosted by the Centers for Teaching Excellence here at the University of South Carolina, and we worked in small groups. We learned about adult teaching methods. Now, as much as I'd love to say my students are adults, I think they're more in the transition phase from student learning to adult learning. And really explored opportunities to be able to enhance their motivation for self, as well as providing multiple opportunities for them to continue to love learning as they moved forward. For me, I actually focused on just one small lecture, kind of as a jump start to figuring out a larger way that I could enhance my curriculum. So we were required to do a project, and my project was looking at pharmacotherapy for osteoporosis, finding a way to get students more involved, to improve their ability to answer questions, to identify what problems there might be, and to better prepare them to take care of a patient with osteoporosis after my class. So when I approached this, one of the things that I learned was a concept called the universal design for learning, and it really emphasizes that not every student learns the same way. And because of that, I took a look at how I was teaching and tried to have multiple different modalities built in where students of all different learning types would be able to find a mechanism that allowed them to cement that knowledge in their brain. Sometimes it was as easy as providing the slides ahead of time and letting them fill in the blanks while we were talking in class. But we also had pre-class work that they could complete online to make sure that they recalled previous material and were able to apply it when we were in class. We had after-class readings that they could do, a create your own infographic, as well as multiple small case studies that prompted them through the stepwise pharmacist patient care process, so that way they would be better prepared for another course's case that was coming up, the test that they're going to have in a few weeks, as well as actually taking care of patients when they left. Now, I can't say that they all took advantage of every activity, but I do think having those options there allowed them the opportunity to customize their learning. That's just one piece that I took away from that course that I took last summer with the reflective teaching practices. But I think it really helped expand the way that I look at creating materials for the students to make sure everybody can find a way to help themselves learn.
You were selected this year to receive the 2025 Clinical Practice Teaching Award. What is it that helps you connect with your students and why you think you may have been selected for this recognition?
Certainly. Well, it's definitely a large honor. They select 2 clinical faculty members from the university to award this to every year, and I'm following behind many other recipients that have been honored here at the College of Pharmacy over the years. I've truly made an effort to be more available to the students this year. Any of the students that come to talk to me will likely tell you I am very introverted. I'm not much of a people person, and it's a struggle for me to get out and to talk to people. But I forced myself to do it because I remember as a student how intimidating the faculty seemed, even though they didn't try to be. So small things, showing up 15 minutes early for lecture, making myself available outside and inside the classroom. I share my contact phone numbers and emails and let them know that they can contact me at any point. If it's in the middle of the night, I may not respond, but I want them to have that available. I hold virtual office hours as well as study sessions whenever that's available for the classes, and I try to make sure that I'm prompt in my responses. It's easy to get bogged down, and many times when the student reaches out, it's because they have a problem that needs an immediate answer. So even if it's a small change that I've made, attempting to let the students know, I received your message, but I may not be able to respond back in the next 24 hours. If you haven't heard from me by tomorrow, let me know. But I don't know. I don't think any of that is very special. It's truly trying to be accessible for the students, but also be understanding. I know that they are learning just as I am in new environments, that they are humans just as all of us are, and everyone makes mistakes. So trying to accept any of their faults or misunderstandings with a little bit of grace, I think also goes a long way. We want to teach them professionalism, but at the same time, we don't want to scare them away from making mistakes or admitting mistakes in the future.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you, and this is a 2-pronged question, what advice do you have for our students? And then secondly, what advice do you have for alumni who are looking to reconnect with the college, to get engaged, be involved? What would you say to them?
Definitely for students to be curious, to ask questions, because you may not know what information is missing. You may not know what opportunities are out there. So the best way to do that is to just ask. Sometimes that is while you were on an experiential rotation and asking, what else can I do to help you today? What can I take off your plate? Or what's a menial task that you don't enjoy that you could teach me to make your life a little bit easier? Not only does it allow you to make great connections with your preceptor, but you also learn a lot of new skills that will translate across everything else. I also think our student learners need to be lifelong learners. They need to take that with them and outside of the pharmacy, be curious about everything. Continue to learn about medications and disease states, but also to grow as a person moving forward. I think that's really important and something that we strive to begin to instill here at the university, but they really have to take it with them and make it a part of themselves when they leave. For faculty, one of the things that I have enjoyed doing is being able to mentor students in different environments, and that's also something that can easily done by every pharmacy graduate from the University of South Carolina College of Pharmacy. You are able to take students on practice experience rotations, whether they're the early introductory experiences or the advanced. You can come back to the College of Pharmacy and share your time and your knowledge with students at student organization meetings, or you're able to come back and help grade students and give them feedback as they're looking through their first case studies and patient presentations. Again, all you have to do is reach out and ask. We are constantly looking for mentorship in our alumni, and we want to have those connections. We've got a fantastic group here that has more than enough opportunities to share. We just need your help getting back in touch with us and letting know that you're interested, and I promise there'll be something for you to do.
So I would be remiss if I didn't mention that your husband, Sean, is also a graduate of the College of Pharmacy. When you get home at the end of the day, do you both just kind of put the pharmacy talk away? How do you balance both of you being in a pharmacy career and your outside life?
Well, I wish I could say we put it completely away, but oftentimes we enjoy each other's opinions. We like to share our accomplishments or our challenges for the day. So many times we continue to chat a little bit. We have a son, Connor, who is 10, and he's picked up some fun pharmacy lingo, and we'll jump into the conversation and ask questions, which is also fun. But he occasionally will also sit at the dinner table and just raise his hand as if he's in school, waiting for a chance to interject. But no, I think it's great to have a partner that I'm able to share my life with, who understands some of the things that I am going through, but can also offer me insight and recommendations whenever I need it. So I find that very valuable.
One last question for you, Megan. What does it mean to you to be a Gamecock pharmacist?
I think being a Gamecock pharmacist is an opportunity to serve, whether it's serving my students or serving the local community. I gained the skills here that let me be able to give back. That's truly showing that I've succeeded as a pharmacist when I've been able to provide those opportunities to others. So I try to do that in the classroom, I try to do that in the clinic, and I try to just do that in the community in general. But I think that truly allows someone to be a Gamecock pharmacist to bring it all together.
Megan, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. Thank you so much for sharing your insights about your approach to educating our student pharmacists here at the College of Pharmacy.
Thank you, Margaret. It's been great.
And thank you for tuning in to the USC College of Pharmacy podcast. You can stay up to date with the latest in pharmacy education and innovation by following us on iHeartMedia, Spotify, and YouTube, where you can explore our full library of episodes. Until next time, I'm Margaret Gregory, reminding you that the future of pharmacy begins here at USC.